Hello, welcome to my channel, and in today's video we shall be looking at the meaning of a company. A company, abbreviated as CO, is a legal entity representing an association of people, whether natural, legal, or a mixture of both, with a specific objective. Company members share a common purpose and unite to achieve specific declared goals. Then the company as a legal entity. So the fundamental attribute of corporate personality from which all other consequences flow is that a company is a separate legal entity as distinct from its members. Therefore, it is separate at law from its shareholders, directors, promoters, etc. A company has rights and it is subject to duties that are not the same as those enjoyed by its members. It has a legal personality and is often described as an artificial person in contrast with human being, a natural person. So a company can sue or be sued, it can even own property and many other things. Then the principle of corporate personality. So the principle of corporate personality in simple terms means the fact stated by the law that a company is recognized as a legal entity distinct from its members. The principle was first articulated in the British House of Lords judgment in the case of Salmon and Company Limited. In the case of Salmon versus Salmon and Company Limited. So, in this case, for 30 years, Salmon carried out business as a sole trader of boots and shoes. So in 1892, he converted the business into a limited company by forming Salmon and Company Limited at the request of his sons, who worked in the business as his employees. The company consisted of Salmon, his wife, and 5 children as members. So Salmon was the managing director, and Salmon held 20,001 of the 20,007 issued shares. The remaining 6 shares were each held by a member of his family. So immediately after incorporation, the company experienced difficulties, and a year later was wound up. It had sufficient assets to satisfy the debentures, but nothing for the unsecured creditors, and so the company almost immediately ran into difficulties. And only a year later, the then holder of the debenture appointed the receiver, and the company went into liquidation. So in the events, the creditors sued Salmon, and the House of Lords held that the company had been validly formed, hence the business belonged to the company and not to Salmon, and Salmon was its agent and not it the agent of Salmon. So Salmon was an agent to the company, not a company being an agent to Salmon. So the principle of corporate personality has been applied in other cases. For example, in the case of Lee versus Lee's Air Farming Limited. So in this case, Lee formed a company of which he held 2,999 shares, and his wife, who was the plaintiff, in other words, who sued the company, held 1. So Lee was sole governing director and chief pilot in the company business of aerial crop spraying in New Zealand. He was killed in a crash while flying for the company. His wife sued the company for compensation, since if her claim against the company was valid, the company would in turn recover the amount from the government insurance scheme. It was argued by the company that on the fact that Lee had taken a decision as a director to employ himself as pilot, he could not claim as an employee against the company, and it was held by the court that Lee and his company were distinct, or they were separate. They were separate legal entities which had entered into contractual relationships, under which Lee, as chief pilot, became servant of the company. In his capacity as a governing director, he could on behalf of the company give himself orders in his other capacity as pilot, and hence the relationship between himself as pilot and the company was that of a servant or an employee and master employer. The court further said that the contract by which the company employed Lee was valid, and so his widow could recover compensation for his estate on the basis that he was an employee killed while in the course of his employment. So that was it. Actually, it was also used in the case of Makaula versus Northern Insurance Company Limited. You can also check that out and read it. That's what I had for you in today's video. As you wait for another video, please subscribe, like, comment, and share with your friends. Thank you.